Hello, everybody. Just this week, we've had a significant historic event, the assassination of an Oromo singer, Haacaaluu Hundeessaa. Now, I will give an overview and reaction of the timeline of the significance of his assassination, and also just examine all the reaction within the Eritrean community, the Oromo community, how the elements and personalities within Tigray media, and also within the Eritrean opposition, how they are reacting. So, let's just go over and how the timeline of the interview from the interview to his assassination and the resurgence of the Oromo Protest 2.0 and the politics behind that, and just examine the takes and personalities behind these views that we see on social media. So let's start. As you can see, this is the interview that everybody is talking about. On OMN, everybody's prominent Oromo Media Network. Jawar Mohammed leads it. June 19th was the day that Haacaaluu gave this interview. From what I heard, it is very significant. I haven't had the chance to get the transcript of what he said exactly, but from what I heard from Oromo sources who gave me a translation, is he was focused on criticizing Medlek. That's one thing I've heard, but there's other criticism. I'm waiting for the full translation. But he did give this interview, and it seemed like he was critical of Melek. I think somewhat of different Oromo politician, and maybe I think TPLF as well. So this happened on June 19th, and he's very defiant. He was very critical on Oromo soil. He was very defiant. You know what kind of courage that takes for somebody within the empire to criticize the system itself. So he is part of that generation, that defiant Oromo generation that toppled TPLF 2018. That generation brought down TPLF. He is part of that generation. So before I start, I definitely have to pretty much highlight that on June 23rd, I tweeted this. And I said that did the popular Oromo singer Haacaaluu Hundeessaa in his interview put out a criticism? I was asking Oromo sources. Pretty much his point on the interview was emphasizing, the donkey, that there is a statue of Medlaka Nadisava with the donkey. So he wants to destroy the Melek statue, but at the same time keep the donkey because it's indigenous to the Oromo people. And this is pretty much what is the translation, and that's what I was trying to highlight. Um, and then some people, these are the comment by an Oromo, definitely Oromo account, and pretty much highlighting that keep the Oromo horse, but Melek gotta go, and this is the statue that he was talking about. Yeah, and I pretty much highlighted, and I said I don't really speak it, but I do recognize that he should be the person of the year again for his view. And then I posted this. Let's see here. Yeah, so I was talking to an Oromo source. This is what I meant after a close Oromo source explained his lyrics. I'm officially a fan of Haacaaluu, and this is the on June 23rd, 827. I put that video out, and I said that he is not only the Oromo of the year, but also the African of the year of 2020. It is to be noted that the OPD, Pride website in 2017 gave him the Oromo of the year for being that voice of that generation during the Oromo protest against the TPLF regime in Addis Ababa, who toppled the TPLF regime. He is a revolutionary. He is that part of that nationalism, the part of that legendary legacy of the Oromo struggle from way back in the days. So I put that he should be the Oromo of the year again and so forth, but also be the African of the year, and it's significant. And this happened on June 23rd, uh, and then after that, oh yeah, so weeks later, um, June 29th, 2 o'clock, there was two events happening. I think this is the before he was assassinated. This is the day that he was assassinated on June 29th. Uh, this was happening. There was an interview on OMN with Garamay, and he pretty much brought in Renee, maybe I'm pronouncing it, pretty much Gadachu Reda, who have said that Oromos are demons in before 2018. So I was listening to this interview, and I was privately sending having a private conversation with the Oromo source This person, it's very high level, not high level, but somebody who's significant player within the Oromo community, the media community. So I always go to the individuals who are within the Oromo to check information to validate different takes. And so, yeah, I was trying to ask if the person was able to catch this interview and to see how the person will give me their take and their perspective from an Oromo side. But there was also that day, you got to remember, June 29th was a day that there was a United Nations Security Council meeting about between Egypt and Ethiopia regarding the dam. So a lot of things were happening that day. OMN had an interview with Getachew Rede, and then the United Nations were having a development, a question about the politics and negotiation about the Nile issue. So that was the hot topic that week. Before that, there was nothing happening. So I was paying attention, but you got to keep in mind something I want to highlight that Gurmai, who is a very principled person, he asked Getachew Rede of TPLF if he regrets or he want to apologize for calling Oromos demons and devils. If anybody want to go look at the interview, he did say that. I don't remember saying it, but there is a public record of you saying this. He's definitely lying, and the Oromos need to call him out on this. But yeah, this is something that happened today. So when I was messaging that person to see if they were watching the interview, they were focusing on the Egypt situation, and then a few hours later, I think it was around 4 o'clock. That's when Haacaaluu, 4 o'clock Central Time Zone or Eastern Time Zone, Haacaaluu was assassinated at night. Somebody killed him, and the areas that he was living in, the condominium. And the news broke out within hours. So that's the day that he was assassinated, and Oromos were reacting, and there was a lot of pain, and there was not even enough time to process what just happened. It just within second, the focus was on trying to bury him and trying to conceal this, submerge this issue and deflect it into something else. And Abiy administration were aggressive, tried to get his body away from his family, killed one of his relatives. They were making horrific mistakes as far how to treat the assassination of Haacaaluu Hassan. So this tweet by this account was really a good take. Besides the Melek, uh, Haacaaluu, did he make any question about Abby's uh, Oromo blood? I think that's a good question. In addition to that, besides the criticism about Medlek statue, he criticize TPLF? These are the things that are okay, but one thing that is not nobody's discussing is he did criticize this, and I'm waiting for the full translation. I want to see what he said exactly in full English translation. If he is if he is criticizing TPLF, which is no Oromo so far, for some reason, after 2018, the criticism about TPLF has died down because of the rise of Abiy, and there is efforts between certain Oromo elements who are trying to ally themselves with TPLF, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the what Oromos can do for their self-interest in regards to defending Oromia, I have no problem with it. We have to put it in their perspective, from the perspective of the Oromo people and their struggle with the Abyssinian settler state against Abiy. Um, who can provide them the resources? Who can provide them weapons? Who can provide them in their struggle? There's nobody out now. There's no Eritrea because of our alliance, or not because of the peace deal. We cannot give them the weapons. So it is TPLF. So from the standpoint of the struggle of the Oromos, the standpoint of the struggle with the OLA, TPLF is the one that probably gave them the media attention, the weapons, and the resources. So I am not against Tigray and Oromia and whatever you need to do as in your internal affairs regarding what TPLF. I can't dictate that because EPLF during the 80s did have a strategic alliance with TPLF. EPLF and TPLF were allied, and sadly, the issue of the tension between EPLF and EPLF was allied with TPLF to counter ELF on Eritrean soil. So who are we to dictate what can Oromos do in regards to how they ally with TPLF? We have no right we have no right to dictate to the Oromo community. So in regards how they, but it will be interesting to see how if what he said about TPLF is fully translated and it makes sense. But within the Oromo community, there are people who are very questioning the latest move within the pro TPLF Tigrayans who, in the past, who had demonized Oromos, who were calling Johar Muhammad terrorist. They were putting out Islamophobic, just painting the Oromos very demonic, like an Abyssinian, typical Abyssinian views. This is a great tweet. I don't think Alula Solomon, he apologized for calling Oromos, disrespecting them and demonizing them. Even Gatachu Radda. So this is a good point that somebody this is a good comment. This is a good tweet that people should pay attention to. So that is the timeline of what happened from his interview and how I pretty much put it out there, and what was happening the day of the day that he was assassinated, and what he maybe there's speculation that maybe his criticism of Melek is one issue. Some people who are not happy with that could have assassinated him. Some people are alleging that he was because he criticized TPLF. Maybe that's the reason why he was assassinated. There's different angles and different motivation, different forces that would go out there and assassinate this Oromo singer. There's the various elements that would do it. So let's move forward now. Before I move forward, I think this is great. Somebody put this out from the Oromo community. The perspective is the Oromo protest. They haven't had time to even mourn one of their legendary singer. They haven't had time to process. They haven't had time to actually come as a community and just voice how they're sad they are and traumatic. This is very traumatic. Within like a few days, they have to focus on the Oromo protest because all the Oromo leaders are arrested. Abiy's very aggressive and he's on TV being very aggressive and vocal, and his rhetoric has increased his militaristic. So this is good, highlights that the fact that it's the issue of the system, not the people. And then this is pretty much trying to appeal to these Abyssinian settlers in Addis Ababa who, for some reason, don't want to support Oromo protest, have demonized the Oromo nationalists, and they will continue to demonize. But this is an effort to appeal to them, which is they will not do it. Now, let's move forward. Now, within the Oromo community, who are the main people who are given media spotlight to speak on behalf of this issue? Uh, Fatami, that's what I'm pronouncing her. She's one of the Oromo activists who's active, I think, is in Minnesota. I have tremendous respect for her sister, who is associated with the Oromo Students or Studies Association, very progressive politics. But I have a concerning view about Fatama and her view over the years, especially in regards to Eritrean politics, uh, how she viewed the Eritrean people. This is something that I don't have nothing against her, but this is more of an observation. It's very problematic, and if these two individuals, especially this person here, I don't know her, but her these two are linked with pro State Department Eritrean activists. Either they don't know it, they don't understand that you cannot. They don't understand the harm you will do by siding with different elements who are extreme. You as an Oromo, we're not asking you not to comment on Eritrean politics, but you as an Oromo community, what can they do within the Eritrean politics is be more of the third party, neutral observer, not to take the extreme voice of one side or this side, but come in with the mindset of having a neutral observation. You don't want to be too pro PFDJ. You don't want to be too pro State Department activist, and that you have to come in as an outsider and be a neutral observer. Obviously, support Eritrea, the state of Eritrea, and support the Eritrean people, and that's how you do it. But the problem with this account is she had tended to take very like partisan view of the Eritrean politics, and she has, as you can see, she has retweeted this individual. Let's see, where is he at? Uh, just a second. Yeah, this person here who very aggressive. That is an endorsement of an individual who has blatantly lied about the issue of the Eritrean politics. He is presenting their narrative of the problem of the Eritrean narrative in one side, rather than the focusing on the internal problem and also the external problems. The Eritrean politics is very nuanced. There's a lot of issues and stakes, and it's very complicated. And individuals like him tend to take on a pro State Department view of the Eritrea, dismissing the external aggression, dismissing the sanction, dismissing who was causing the war. Besides Isaias, Isaias is a problem, yes, but this individual right here, if you're endorsing him, that becomes a problem. That's not a good thing to do. But her sister, who is an Oromo nationalist, she's very principled, very she is understanding of the politics of the Horn of Africa, very well versed in the history of Oromos. Now, I don't have an issue with this person. Maybe she doesn't know that she's doing harm and taking a partisan view, but as an Oromo, it's problematic. But she she is being centered uh, by different various Oromo, not Oromo, but different media outlets, which is fine. I think she had a personal relationship with Haacaaluu, and it makes sense. She has to speak, but it's very. I wonder if that is an indication of endorsement why certain people who are from the Oromo community, their voices are being amplified, why their politics. We have to examine that too, especially this person here, who is also associated with pro State Department Eritrean activists. I have no problem with her, or there's no issue. It's just like politically, you guys are just aligning yourself with, as an Oromo. There's no, the Eritrean state is not the enemy of the Oromo people, and to be anti-Eritrean state does not help anybody. So while these guys are, respected within the Oromo community, there's a lot of questions or criticism about their view within the Eritrean politics. These two here, but so moving forward. Oh yeah, so it was very disturbing that a guy, Arase, who is an Oromo intellectual, who went on the Oromo Media House, which is I think associated with Alul Solomon, and he gave this very conspiracy theory that uh, the Oromo, I mean, the assassination of Hachalu was done by an Eritrean, or he is indicating or insinuating that the assassin was an Eritrean in this particular video. Like I mentioned, I've had respect for him, and I put this out. I have had respect for this guy, but it's very dangerous what he's doing. If he's pushing this political line of conspiracy theory that an Eritrean person was responsible for triggering this assassination as this conspiracy, how does this benefit Oromia? How does this benefit the region? Like, we don't benefit anything from this. Why would an Eritrean kill Hachalu? There's no interest in it. He didn't criticize anybody, the Eritrean community. That's not in the spirit. We don't assassinate people. Isaias Afwerki, yes, he is problematic, and he has views on federalism and multinational federalism, and the question of the oppressed nationalities. Yes, it's problematic, but that's not should not be an excuse to wanting to put out this framing of the fact that Eritrean people or Eritrean person was behind the assassination of Hachalu, which is very dangerous. It's very disappointing. This is going to cause us an issue, and I think Oromo community who are principled, please challenge this person, because, like, again, I don't have an issue with him, but this is very dangerous because you're really putting the lives of Eritrean people on Adisava who are innocent. When you put the target of Eritrean people on Adisava, Tagay, Arasu, you will have blood on your hand. If anybody's killed any Eritrean on Adisava, it was you who put these views. This has nothing to do with being Oromo, but you are taking on views that are very dangerous. So, from the perspective of the Eritrean opposition, like, this is an account that the Ali Abu, this is the brother of Salih Yunus. I mean, the Ali Abu, this is his brother, Salih Yunus of Awat, who is aggressively extreme in his views. He pretty much interacts with this Abyssinian personality, Nat Barha, whatever his name is. As you can see, he put this out. He is saying that the Eritrean ambassador or the Eritrean embassy has something to do with killing Haacaaluu, which is this is dangerous. Like what do you get from doing this? It's very dangerous political line to take a conspiracy theory. This is the brother of Ali Abu. This is Salih Yunus. And if any Eritrean is killed, this is the we haven't pretty much a perspective of why it happened. Like no Eritrean should not be targeted in Addis Ababa, and he's weaponizing this to politicize it and make it seem like the Eritrean people are involved. And then in addition to that, within the Tigray media house is Alula Solomon, who is aggressively anti-Eritrean state. So in this post, he was focused on Yakalu, this extremist fringe conspiracy theories who has views, very right-wing conspiracy theories, conservative. He even burned his Eritrean identity. So over the years, anybody who's been observing within the Eritrean community know that this guy is not. He we know he's extreme. He doesn't even claim to be Eritrean. It is alleged that he has Tigrayan ancestry, or he is half Eritrean, half Tigrawi. So this is the background of the person that Alul Solomon was focused on and was trying to weaponize the fact that this guy was saying some extreme views about Hachalu, saying that he was happy that he was assassinated. But look at this, the fact that this is the background of this individual. He burned the Eritrean identity. This guy is not Eritrean. He's an extremist. He's part of that group, the Agazian, the right-wing people, conservative, who want to destroy the Eritrean state, bringing a new state, and so forth. He is not Eritrean. Does not identify as Eritrean. This is very dishonest way to weaponize him against the Eritrean people, to say, look, the Eritrean people are against the Oromo struggle. We're not. We're not against the Oromo struggle. And people like Alul Salomon and Tseggai are within the Oromo community are playing a dangerous game, and we're gonna set this on fire if you do this, if we push this forward. So I just want to conclude, like I mentioned earlier, there's nothing wrong with the Oromo people, the Oromo intellectuals appearing on Tigray Media House. It's just when you cross the line and take on the view of TPLF aggression against Eritrean nationalism, against the Eritrean state. You can be part of and make an alliance with Tigray, the TPLF, if you want. That's your choice. You cross the red line when you take on the same politics as TPLF. You don't have to do that. You can have these alliance between TPLF and Oromia if you want. If it serves Oromia, that's your interest. That is your internal affairs. But at the end of the day, there's no need to be hostile. There's no need to take on these views that TPLF has against the Eritrean state, to bring it, to balkanize it, to weaken it, to destroy it. So there's no need for an Oromo to take on the top politics of TPLF. Do what you must do for your interests, for the interest of Oromia, but please do not cross the red line and join them and to start a war with Eritrea. Oromia doesn't gain anything by antagonizing the Eritrean people, antagonizing the Eritrean state, killing Eritrean defense forces, occupying Eritrea. This is the interest of the PLF. It is not the interest of Oromia. So as Oromos, please be careful. Do not let these people take you into view in Eritrea this way. The Eritrean struggle supports the Oromo struggle. Yes, Isaias Afwerki is a problem, and the criticism against him is welcome. But we as a people, we as the Eritrean state, have no issue with the Oromo people. We have no issue with Oromia. You can criticize Isaias Afwerki. He is a problem in his views of federalism. I keep mentioning this. His views has nothing to do with the Eritrean people, has nothing to do with the Eritrean state. Has nothing to do with the history of the OLF, EPLF, and the legacy of Oromo and Eritrean history. So I just want to end on that note. And also just want to comment on the significance of the Oromo protest. Like I mentioned several times, I am concerned that the Oromo protest 2.0 is a lot different from 1.0. 1.0, it was about pretty much 2014. It was bottom up student and Oromo farmers, the master plan TPLF was pushing out in Addis Ababa. That was the triggering point. The students rose up, the farmers rose up. It was bottom up, and it was the people on the ground who were leading and who were pretty much take on the bullets, not the diaspora. The diaspora were just like on social media and speaking on their behalf, which self-assigning themselves as part of this movement. It was a revolution that is hijacked, and what we have here, the rise of Abiy, is a result of elements within the Oromo community, liberal elements who used the protest, the Oromo protest, and used it toward liberalism and wanting reforms instead of decolonizing Ethiopia, reforms and constitutionalism, which is empty symbolic change, cosmetic change. That's what happened in 2018. The rise of Abiy is because these elements within the Oromia region are very accommodating of the Abyssinian settlers. And that's why I feel like these individual like her are very accommodating of Abyssinian gays. And this individual right here, they're liberal in their politics. They're wanting to engage with the Abyssinian settlers, normalize their settler colonialism. I don't think they'll go beyond that. Their politics is neoliberal, pro Washington, pro State Department, which does not serve the interest of Horn of Africa. It does not serve the interest of Oromia. It's not. So the Oromo community, they have to pretty much be careful and choose. Do not let this Oromo protest 2.0 be co-opted toward the diaspora who have these very bad politics and baggage. If people warn you about I'm warning you guys about these people. Be careful about who these two are and their type of elitist liberal diaspora views. I am not against them as I have nothing personal against them, but politically these people are bad news for Oromo and what it means for Oromia. It's important that the Oromos look at who is speaking on their behalf. What is their politics? Who are they linked with? So if you don't want a repeat of Abiy, there's a lot of Abiy within the Oromo community who, despite saying I am Oromo nationalist, their politics, it is serving the empire, serving the Abyssinian settlers. So be cautious. Let's be careful about these two people here and then their politics as well. Let's be careful about the Eritrean opposition elements and also PFDJ. PFDJ and Isaias Afwerki are their views and about the Oromo protest, federalism, multinational federalism is problematic and it should be opposed. And then what we have here is the mistakes of Isaias Afwerki and failures of Isaias Afwerki from 1991 into 1985. His views about nations and nationality and not align and making the politics correct and reading the historical grievances and supporting the OLF assertively, and then that was the mistake of 1991. We are here because the size of 4K views. He hijacked the moment of 1991 to salvage the Ethiopian Empire. We are here because of this guy. Isaias Afwerki caused us to be here. And I apologize on the behalf of Eritrean people, the mistake of Isaias Afwerki in 1991. I apologize. The mistake of PFDJ. All these guys are doing harm, the interest of Eritrea, the interest of Oromia, the interest of the Horn of Africa. They are supporting the Abyssinian settlers and the politics so that they can counter TPLF. This is a horrible approach. You're only enabling an element that is more far dangerous than TPLF. TPLF is very dangerous. That's true, but the Abyssinian fundamentalist and Addis Ababa and their politics, the G7, the EC, the ESAT, that typical G7 view that we hear, the extremists. If they are in power, they're not going to respect the sovereignty of Eritrea. They're not going to respect the sovereignty of Oromia. So they're more dangerous to the stability of Horn of Africa. TPLF, they can be handled. The problem is the fixation of Isaias Afwerki on TPLF. 2018 should have been a reset. We should have been engaging with these elements or attempt to have a third party to engage TPLF in a very productive way, reset and change our policy and how we view Ethiopia and supporting of the federalism. That should happen second. Third is adjusting. We should have been less focused on Abiy and become more of a third neutral party instead of overly pro Abiy. That is the third mistake that Isaias has made us. So we are in this mess because Isaias is pro Abiy instead of becoming neutral. We should have been a third party to calm tension between OLF and Abiy and OLA. We should have been the third party, trusted third party to negotiate a settlement between the federal government and OLA. Instead of that happening, we have Isaias Afwerki choosing to side with Abiy killing Oromos, and that's a problem. It's a problem with Isaias Afwerki. It's a problem of PFBJ policy in regards to Oromia, in regards to Abiy. Is a problem. We are stuck in the situation of over fixation of TPLF will cause the region to be destabilized. So that's an issue within the Eritrea, and that's our perspective on what is the problem from our side, but also the region. So I think the next move is Abiy is very comfortable in his position right now. As you can see, he made that speech. He's very confrontational. He's ready to engage in war. It's war. The war has been pretty much triggered since 2018. It's never. He's been triggering this war against OLA, and it's happening. It's not going to stop. And he has the backing of Washington. This is the. It's totally different from Oromo protests in which TPLF was in decline and Washington was not very confident about supporting TPLF. Now Washington is very pro Abiy. UAE's backed him. The World Bank has backed him. IMF has backed him. He is their preferred candidate. He is for neoliberalism, implementing this idea of privatizing different sectors. He is the best thing to happen to them. He is in their interest to have him in power. They will just have to find a way to clean this issue, the image of this protest. So he has the backing of Washington. I think Oromos have to prepare and realize this has to be anti-colonial, emphasize on decolonization, make sure you don't let liberal elements in the diaspora hijack the Oromo protest away from the poor, oppressed Oromo students. Make sure you understand that this movement has to liberate and distribution of wealth. Make sure the land is in the hand of the Oromo region, the Sidamite region. It cannot just be nationalism, Oromo nationalism. It has to be focused on all these oppressed nationalities. So that's all I want the Oromo people to do. Be cautious in how you engage within the Eritrean politics. Be the third party neutral individual who sees all sides instead of taking an extreme view of this or that. I think as Oromos come in, be the people that we can come to you and be the neutral observer so that you can help us unite as Eritrean people. That's the duty of Oromos that we want from you guys, to come in within our Eritrean politics and be neutral and see the all sides rather than choosing one side and vocalizing one. No, unify Eritrean people. Use your voice. Do not do what these two individuals are doing, who are purposely amplifying elements, extreme elements, who are very, will have put out views that harm the Eritrean state. These two individuals, we don't need that within the Oromo community. I think their politics and how they view Eritrea is very problematic. I think the best path for the Oromia and the region is not to be hostile to either Eritrea, either Tigray, or either Amhara region. So, on that note, that's about it. I think we have a lot of uncertainty about what was going to happen in this Horn of Africa, but for the most part, the development that's happened this week is very historic. There's an opening. Statues are being brought down, and this is the beginning. I think Melek, Selassie, all their statue will go down, and this is the beginning of what is gonna come in the future. And I'm very hopeful. I will support the Oromo people. I will support all oppressed nationalities, and yeah, and I recommend Eritrean people do the same and understand the politics. Thanks.